Common Core state standards will be the way we teach over the next several years, if not the next century. I see that this is a way that our nation is going, so that students, regardless of where they live, whether it be Ohio, California, Texas, or coming to Florida, those students will have the same expectations, grade level by grade level, so that all students can have the opportunity and the equality to truly be prepared for college and careers. What Common Core is doing for our students is starting with the end in mind, and they worked backwards. So as our students graduate as 12th graders, this is saying what our colleges and our employers are saying students need. And then they worked backward from that 12th grade level down to kindergarten, rather than starting at kindergarten and working its way up. As students enter our school system as kindergartners, the Common Core state standards have built in what they call the foundation skills. Those foundation skills are primarily in the area of literacy to get students to truly know and be able to be successful readers and writers, as well as listening and speaking and language, because oral language is critical to the work that we do. So those foundation skills, each teacher will scaffold that learning for individual students to be able to be successful. When it comes to front loading, or what we call working with background knowledge that students bring to the table, one of the shifts that teachers need to make is not giving students as much information as they have in the past. Teachers tend to know their content so well that they end up sharing with students all that they know, and then it leaves very little learning on the student's part. So what we're trying to get our teachers to do is share a little bit of that foundational information to make them successful in learning a specific subject, but then the students themselves must grapple with that text and learn how to navigate through that text to be able to read like a historian, read like a scientist, and really make meaning and analyze the information that they're learning.
When and where do you think the events of this poem take place?
We looked at a poem. Interestingly enough, we call in the world of education, we call it front loading. And front loading is where you look at what you're going to provide students with, and you think about the words that might be difficult. You think about the events in the poem or story that might be unfamiliar to them, and you provide all of this information for them before they actually read.
I've always wondered about this because I front load a lot in my classroom for my students. I give them a lot of historical background. I let them know about the author, let them know about some of the vocabulary they're going to be encountering. But when they're on that test, when they're faced with either that FCAT or that SAT or that ACT, or they're in college, there's no one there doing that for them.
One of the things that we're really focused on with Common Core state standards is that teachers are no longer going to be simply disseminators of information, meaning that they will become facilitators of students empowering their own learning. What that looks like is teachers will still be able to scaffold and prepare students with foundational information, but then they will set students off to work in collaborative groups, to question, to do inquiry-based learning, and to find answers to those questions. Teachers will be using more complex text and having students go back and look at that text multiple times for various purposes to truly be able to analyze meaning and understanding, and also to make sure that it's relevant and that they can make connections to the world today.
I think it'll be tough because I think we're going to ask them to do a lot more critical thinking. They're going to have to develop analytical skills. The lists and definitions, those days are over. So we're going to require a lot more of them. And I think how the students will respond will a lot depend on how it gets presented.
What we're asking our teachers to do is take a look at those things that are working for them currently, find that way of teaching that is working, but then think about things that we should keep, things that we should no longer be doing. Handing a student a packet of work to do and basically letting them go and do that packet of work is not what we consider a best practice. But giving students those inquiry-based problems and having them work through it with a collaborative group, that's the shift that we want our teachers to make.
One of the reasons we've gone through transitions in education was following trends, looking at the end result of our high school students. When they leave us, have we adequately prepared them for a life that exists in the world today?
We need to think outside the box for what our colleges and what our employers are telling us our students need. And it is not for students to just simply take in information. Students need to create their own learning. They need to create that inquiry and that thinking. This is really about teaching students how to think.
You're expected to be a critical thinker and be able to really teach yourself. And then the workforce. You know, before they would hire people and train them the way they want them to be trained. Now they want people that are going to walk in the door, make changes, make decisions, analyze data, and they need it done yesterday because the information changes so fast. So I think in the past you could get away with this slow process of developing employees. You can't today because what's relevant today will not be relevant 2 days from now. So they're really pushing us and expecting students to be critical thinkers and critical readers.
I believe the fact that the text is more complex is going to require that we as teachers teach differently because we're asking for the students to learn in a different manner than we have been asking.
Students who miss time are going to miss so many opportunities to really grapple with things, discuss with their peers, get understanding from the teacher. It's not just assigning things anymore.
You know, so much of the things that our kids are going to need to be able to do are going to depend solely on them. And I think that's really where Common Core has gone. We're sort of taking the training wheels off, if you will, and really expecting our kids that when they leave high school to be independent learners and thinkers, because quite frankly, that's the environment they're going to walk into in college and also in the workforce.
We are hoping that these teachers come away pushing us for what their needs are and that they become facilitators at their own schools and helping us spread the word. We have about 25% of our instructional staff attending our summer institutes. We also have an additional 2 days coming up this summer, which principals are choosing teams to come that will help them lead this Common Core implementation at their schools over the next several years. It's going to take time for us to get to where we really want to be, but we are well on our way and we are so excited. We talk about this being a huge sea of change, but I also like to see it as oceans of opportunity, because this is an opportunity for us to truly make a difference for the lives of our kids. And we have to remember that's what we're here for.